Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Bethany Joy Lenz. I'm excited to talk with all of you about Savoring Paris, part of the Passport to Love that Hallmark is doing this season, this summer. And to kick off this live, Hallmark channel has sent me a few questions that I'm going to answer for you right now. So let's get started. Maybe I'll answer them in a French accent. No, I won't because my French accent needs work. Okay, so here's the deal. My character Ella is feeling kind of unfulfilled in her life, and she's looking for a little bit more exciting things to do, more adventure, more purpose. And the question is, tell us more on how she embarks on a journey of self-discovery. Ella is she's a woman who has been taking care of other people, making space for other people for most of her life. And she's come to a point where she's realizing, like, I don't know if I actually know who I am or what I want. And I need to figure this out. I need to stop living my life for everyone else. And so she kind of on a whim just goes, I had a great time in Paris when I was young. When I was 20, I should go do that again. So she just ups and goes. And that's the catalyst for how the rest of this movie unfolds. Fun fact, when I was 20, I also got up and went. I saw this movie called French Kiss. If you haven't seen it, it's hard to find. They don't have it on streaming anymore. And I don't know why. The studio that owns it, I guess, just isn't allowing it. But it's Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline. And she goes to Paris and she's terrified of flying and traveling. And she gets out there and she meets this vagabond, Kevin Kline. And it became my favorite rom-com. And I decided I needed adventure too. Because, when you're 20, you're like, I'm just going to go to Paris and magical things will happen to me. And so that's what I did. And magical things did not happen to me. I actually had a terrible time. My hotel room was ransacked. I got kicked in the butt by some old lady that was mad at me for doing something, I'm sure, that was very uncouth in French culture. I don't know what it was. I was walking across the street. Maybe I cut her off or something. I don't know. But kicked me in the butt. And I had, my train tickets were stolen. It was a rough time. So I decided I didn't like Paris. And then I got a chance to go back and then go back again and go back again. And I found that I actually really did fall in love with it. I just maybe didn't have the best first experience. But it was kind of fun to go back as Ella now and fall in love with Paris for all different kinds of reasons. Okay. Anyway, so that's fun. Our next question is, during Ella's trip to Paris, she indulges her love for cheese at the local fromagerie and meets Serge, played by Stanley Weber. Can I share more about our character's first meet cute? Yeah, I go into his cheese shop and I start asking for cheese, and he's a bit grouchy. And I think this is what's really fun for Ella, to be able to, if you go to a new place and nobody knows you there and no one there has established expectations for you or what they expect you to be or how they expect you to behave, there's just nothing known about you. You could put on an accent. You could say anything. You could pretend to be a completely different person just for fun. And I think Ella's feeling a little bit of that travel gumption that comes in when you know that you could be anyone, and she wants to try on being anyone. And so she's stepping out of her comfort zone and saying things she would normally say and flirting in a way that maybe she would normally flirt. She's really starting to shed all of these expectations of other people, all of these constraints that she's been living under and putting herself under. So her interaction with Serge really kicks off in that way, where she's just testing it out. Like, I got nothing to lose. You don't know me. I'm gonna try being a little extra flirty, and it works eventually. Next question. The movie is filmed in beautiful Paris. Was this my first time going to France? No, as you know already. And are there any fun behind the scenes moments from set that I can share? There's always so many fun behind the scenes moments. What's hard is on movies like this, we're shooting 15-day episodes. And so we've got to shoot an entire movie with massive locations. I think we had 23 locations or something. And I had 36 costume changes. If you're not in the entertainment industry, that may not feel like a lot to you. But when you think about the fact that we shoot out of order. So it's not like we shoot day 1 and then I'm in one outfit and then we come and shoot day 2 and I'm in another outfit. We're shooting moments from day 1, day 40, day 16, day 12, and we're jumping around all within one actual filming day. So like Monday, I might have 12 costume changes in a day. Well, for a costume change, you need a trailer, you need hair and wardrobe to be there because they're redoing your hair and wardrobe, making sure everything's steamed out, making sure your hair looks exactly the same as it did in the previous scene, even though you shot that previous scene 4 days prior. There's so much detail and nuance that goes into this that there isn't a lot of time in the interim for hanging out and joking around behind the scenes for my character anyway, for me, because as the lead actor, I was constantly on the go. There were constant turnarounds. I was always changing into another costume, and there just wasn't a lot of sitting around time. But that being said, I can tell you one really fun experience that we had is Stanley, and who plays Serge, and Ben, who plays Gaston, and I just all getting to know each other. We took a drive out to a really beautiful lake in Bulgaria because we didn't shoot all of this in Paris. Some of it we shot in Sofia, Bulgaria, which is a super cool artistic city. I recommend anybody that wants to go over there. It's really interesting. Great food, great people. The crew was amazing, but I digress. And we had a lovely lunch at a restaurant on this beautiful lake. We took a hike all the way around the lake. It was probably 5 miles around. And just got to know each other and had great conversations and established a lovely rapport, which is so nice to have when you're just piled on top of each other all of a sudden filming, to be able to really get to know the people that you're working with when there isn't a lot of time on set to do that. Felt like a very valuable experience. So I was glad we got to do that. Next, we have Ella is so intrigued by Serge's fromagerie, she volunteers to help him around the store. How does working together help strengthen our characters' relationship? Wow. Well, I think working together is always going to strengthen your relationship with your partner. And whether that's a partner in crime, partner in friendship, a partner in work, even with your child, I guess, that's what partnership is for working together. So it strengthens their relationship in the fact that they get to know each other. They get to know each other's quirks. They're figuring out how to make space for each other, how to maintain their own needs while also learning how to be generous and give, which I think both of these people have not been in a long-term relationship in a while. And so you can get, especially at our age, you can really get into habits that feel you just get stuck in your ways, and it's harder to be open-handed in relationship. It's harder to be more generous and make space for someone else's eccentricities or flaws. Because by the time we're our age, it's like, I just want life to be easy. I don't want to have to, why do I have to make space for someone else? But you do, because you grow. That's how you grow, is having someone else's funny stuff bump up against your funny stuff. And you're trying to, sort it out. And you learn that everything doesn't have to be your way, or you learn how to not be selfish and shut down. That actually the most loving thing to do is to put yourself out on a limb or tell somebody something that's hard to say. So there's all kinds of those little moments happening throughout the film. And I don't want to give too much away, but you'll see the way that partnership opens up doors for both of them to step outside of their comfort zone to reach for love, which is so important. My character's attitude and point of view on life start changing when she arrives in France. And so the question is, how does traveling to Paris help Ella with her journey of love and soul searching? Well, it helps because she's stepped outside of her comfort zone, as we've been saying. She is you can't, how do you grow if you're not willing to just take a leap somewhere somehow? So I think getting on the plane, stepping off the plane, wandering around, walking into a cheese shop and being like, hey, I want to rent a room here and I want to work here and I want to learn a completely different culture and get outside of my head. You know, as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing there's something actually. I've been a people pleaser a lot in my life, and what happens when you do that is you bury what you actually need and feel, and then it always has to come out, so it'll explode out in all the wrong moments, and it's not a healthy balance. And so I think what's interesting about that is as I've gotten older and done therapy and figured a lot of these things out, I've started to realize what a selfish thing it is to live as a people pleaser, because you're just giving people what they want, and you're not taking up your own space in the world. And you're you for a reason. You belong where you are for a reason. So I think that's part of what Ella is learning about stepping out of her comfort zone is actually she's getting out of her self-focus, her I need everybody to like me, so I'm just going to do what everybody needs. And then it's this sense of constant self-focus of am I pleasing you? Do you like me? And instead she's like, I want to know actually who you are. Who are you, grumpy cheese man? Who are you, roommate? Who are you, and how can I hold my own space and exist as I am without needing to bend and twist myself into something for you? And sometimes you just need a fresh start to be able to do that. It's a lot harder to do that when you're surrounded by people who are used to you being one certain way and giving them everything they need. So I like this journey into generosity and unselfishness for Ella. There is a moment in the movie where Serge is teaching Ella about 5 different cheeses and shows her how to make some cheese from scratch. Are there any favorite cheeses that I loved eating? That's a great question. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, that Comté cheese that we talk about all throughout the movie is really excellent, I have to say. There is something about the cheese there and the bread. I don't know if it's that semolina flour, but you hear the stories all the time. People with celiac can go over to Italy and eat pasta and bread. It is so healthy. I guess they're not spraying pesticides on it. Like our food industry here in America is so messed up. And I always feel so healthy when I go to Europe and eat. So believe me, I was gorging on cheese while I was over there, and felt fine. Like really didn't feel super weighed down or anything. So I would say that, and also the we did have a plethora, a wide variety of cheeses in the prop department because they had to restock the shelves all the time and make sure that there was food and salami and all that. And so Stanley and I on a routine basis would go in the back and steal salami and camembert and baguettes from the prop department. We did replace what we stole, but we did eat. We ate. So yeah, most of my cheese was prop cheese on set, but it was real local cheese. So that was fun. Here's another one. Ella goes on a lot of fun dates as she explores the city. That's true. Do I have a memorable scene that I enjoyed filming the most? Oh my gosh, you guys, we went out on the Seine on a boat, and the Eiffel Tower was twinkling behind us, and it was a magical, magical night. My boyfriend actually was able to come and be there. And so he was on set, even though we were filming, we could take breaks. And then he and I could just stand on this boat on the river by the Eiffel Tower. I mean, it was just so romantic. What an amazing opportunity. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. And Ben is great. Ben, who plays Gaston, he was so lovely and respectful and fun and easy to banter with and easy to improvise with, as was Stanley. Stanley was really such a professional, so nuanced. He had so many layers underneath his character that I was always surprised I feel like I would poke on one or peel one back, and he always had something else underneath it to surprise me with, which is the mark of a really fabulous actor, I think. So I really enjoyed working with him as well. Okay, the last one. Oh no, we have a couple more. The fashion is a big highlight in the movie, and I even wore some of my own wardrobe pieces while filming. That's true. Which outfits were mine, and did I have a favorite? Okay, my favorite was this outfit from Cezanne. Cezanne has been my favorite brand for a very long time. I'm so glad some of y'all are finally catching up to Cezanne. It's the brown pantsuit, strapless tube, I don't know, corset top with like this ruffle on it, and it's got flowers all over it. Cezanne is an incredible brand. Really, really beautiful French design brand. And so that's my favorite. What my personal things were, I brought the black dress with the tan skirt that we had the red bow and the hat with. And I brought the scarf, the Jean-Louis Masha scarf that I wore with a striped blazer, striped shirt, and the white pants. And I think I brought something else, but from the Eiffel Tower moment on the boat, that pink bow top, that was mine. I had found that and I threw it in my suitcase at the last minute because why not? And it turned out to be great. They actually put it in the movie. So fun. And lastly, Ella wants to continue her adventure in Paris and decides to stay and make Paris her permanent home. Is there a moment in my life where I took a leap of faith? Oh my gosh, there's so many. I moved a lot. I mean, I've moved 25 times in my life. But I will say this last move to Nashville was that was a leap of faith because I had just bought a beautiful ranch in California. I had horses. I had a paddock for the horses. I had everything I needed. We were there throughout all of COVID for 2 years, we moved in November 2019 into that place. And it was a haven. It was a safe haven for my daughter and I. For my dad, he came to visit and stayed for a while. I had some friends who needed a place to stay. We had a guest house. I had, during COVID in particular, we had like a little pod of friends for my daughter. And she really just saw those 4 girls throughout the rest of the year. And my friend Paul Johansson and his son Quinn. But we had a very insular little group. And that home was such a safe haven, and it was like a park. The foliage was everywhere. It was so beautiful. And at some point I realized the casting rooms have all shut down. I don't need to be in California. I don't know if I want to raise a teenage girl in LA, me personally. And I think maybe there's something creative happening in Nashville that would be great for me for music and film. And there's just some other things happening there. And I've never been a California girl. I moved out there out of necessity, but I'm an East Coaster, New York, New Jersey, Dallas, which is, middle of the country, and North Carolina, as many of you know, for 10 years on One Tree Hill. So I feel much more comfortable in the South and the East Coast. I had some friends that moved out to Nashville, came to visit, fell in love with it, but also was like, oh, that's a big deal. I mean, it's a really big deal to uproot my daughter, who was 10 at the time, and just load up the truck and move. When she grew up there, that's her whole life, her whole friend system, everything. And I prayed about it, and I talked with some friends about it, and it just seemed like the right thing to do. I don't know. You just feel it. I felt it. So I took the leap. And as I started moving toward that decision, all these doors started opening where you just like, okay, I know I'm doing the right thing here, because it's too many right things are happening now the second I made this choice. And then also there was a lot of opposition that was so bizarre, like things that you just were like, how is this a problem right now? How are these things that just would make no sense in any other scenario? You're like, there's some kind of something's trying to stop me. Something is mad that I'm doing this, which makes me think I'm making even more of the right decision. So I went with it, packed up, moved, got here. My daughter has thrived. She has the best group of friends. She loves her school. I have really thrived. I feel like I have more friends here in 6 months than I did in 10 years in LA. And it's been a really, really great transition, but it was hard and it was super, super scary. And I just kind of closed my eyes and jumped screaming all the way, and then got here and went, "Ooh, is that okay?" And by the way, I realized that what was so hard about leaving my ranch was feeling like I had that safe haven in nature, because I love nature. But then I got here and everything is covered in green. The foliage is everywhere. So I don't even, it's not like I needed it the way I did in LA, where everything's, LA kind of, it's just busy and kind of grimy. And, you really have to find your pockets of beauty. Not so here. It was everywhere. So it was a great leap of faith. I'm glad I took it. Okay. Sorry, that was a bit long-winded. I hope you guys are still with me, but we have a rapid fire game. Somehow I'm going to do this. Okay. It's a rapid fire game of this or that, inspired by Savoring Paris and Passport to Love. Cheese or wine? Wine. Spend the evening by the Eiffel Tower or picnic in the park? It's hard because the Eiffel Tower is like so touristy now. So I'm going to say picnic in the park, but the Eiffel Tower is really beautiful. You got to see it. Espresso or tea? Espresso all the way. Staycation or travel? Ooh, travel. I'll work. If I stay home, I'll just end up stripping my bathroom and redoing the cupboards or something. Better for me to travel so I can actually relax. Shopping or dine at a fancy restaurant? Dine every time. Oh, give me food. Give me the experiences all the time. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait for you to watch the premiere of my new movie, Savoring Paris. It's going to be on Saturday, June 8th at 8/7 Central, only on the Hallmark Channel. And you can tweet along while you watch using the hashtag Savoring Paris. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.